In this little video, I'm just going to quickly show you how you work with the contrast for the yoke and the cuff, like blended in. It's really a lovely thing to do. And then we're going to cut the rest in this lovely grey chambray, which fits really nicely with it. The other thing you need to look out for when you're using a fabric that has white in it, if I double this up, it won't be as nice. This grey here always shines through. It's always a good idea to cut the patterned fabric like this once in white, so the white makes this even nicer, you know, and brighter, and then you cut the other one in the you know, patterned fabric. And I've laid out my patterns here already. We've already done that. I'm not going to go through here again what we're going to mark and how we're going to cut it. Basically, because a fabric is very similar in both directions, really. Okay, so you have a little bit more give that way. But what you can do for all your collars and your sleeve is you can put them on along the grain line instead of this way around. So if that's better for you and your fabric has no direction, you won't even notice. And very important that you go along the grain line is just for the front and the back, and actually also for the placket, because you want maximum firmness of that. But even this I've cut the other way around. You know, if you run out of fabric, you can do that. And I've cut all the grey stuff out now as well. There are just a few things that I want to show you with regards to ironing our little placket, because there is a different option here. I just quickly want to show you that, and then there's a comment on your turned up cuffs. Apart from that, it's exactly the same as the other blouse. What I do want to point out is how we do it when we don't have a check, because it's really, really simple with a check to follow the lines. It isn't so simple when you just have a plain fabric. So it starts exactly the same. What you want to do is iron it over to the center, and then you take your little strip of interfacing and you put that one on. And I have to say that the hand cut strips are always a little bit wibbly wobbly, unless, I mean, I don't know how super tidy you can be not to have that. So you can see here that that might be a little bit uneven, in which case, of course, the rule is ever so helpful, even if it's not quite the distance that you wanted. So let's just have a look at this rule. So we know that this is a little bit smaller. I needed 3 centimeters here, right? And this is only 2.5. But what you could do here is just line this up with a 3, right? Line this line up all the way down. And then you have a line that you can iron over, which will be pretty perfect. So if I do it the same all the way over, there we go, and I iron that on, then that will work brilliantly. And again, don't forget you don't need a seam allowance here. So I'm just going to measure this again, make sure this hasn't moved. It's just, that's 2.9, so by the time that's ironed over, that'll be perfect. I'll just move it so it's the same and I can't go wrong. Yep, that looks good to me. And then I can just iron that on. Now, of course, I can just flip it over as well, but I just want to make sure it doesn't move before I do that. So I'm just going to iron my interfacing on. And you can see how perfect the line is here. So that's way easier than when you hand cut it. It's just never as straight as you can see, not even when I do it. So now I'm just going to fold this over and iron it again. Really sharp. There we go. Now I can move this over And now I've got this beautiful line that I can work with, right? I can just iron that over. Of course, I will check it afterwards as well. So I'm just going to put my finger there, or, you know, just so feeling it. This is where the interfacing is, but you can also see the distance to the edge. Plackets are precision work. They are the easiest to cut out, but they have to be done really well, because there you will see if they're not quite spot on, and we don't want that. So iron this over, and I'm going to iron it this way again. Now take your tape measure again, make sure it's the same all the way along. Looks like I've done a fairly good job there. So now I can press this in, and I've got it perfect as well as I do when I iron with a check. So this is quite nice. So I can put this to the side, and that's basically it. Everything else here is the same.